all 6 aspects of health. That's right. It's much more than having a big pile of money. Every week, we share tips to improve your physical, mental, social, spiritual, intellectual, and of obviously your financial health. Today, we are focusing on financial health and the topic of reducing expenses. If you have never seen Millionaires Are Made, this is the show built on the fundamental beliefs that every person you meet knows something you don't, just like the shirt says. And there's something to be learned from everyone in this big, beautiful world. We are on a mission here at Millionaires Are Made to teach the world how to grow into the healthiest, happiest millionaires in all the aspects of life. So today we got 3 awesome guests that are going to give us 3 awesome tips on how to improve our financial health by reducing expenses. And in the spirit of authenticity, to try to remove as much bias as possible, we don't discuss or talk about our tips or advice before the show starts. So what you hear when you hear their tips right now, it's going to be the first time I hear their tips as well. And let me tell you, I'm just as excited as you. Audience, this is an interactive show. Please comment and ask questions. We will ask them live to our guests and let them answer you there. Real quick, I do want to take a time to shout out a few of our followers. Thank you so much. On Facebook, Richard Kaiser, Instagram, Desmond Fleming, TikTok, Matt Meager, and YouTube, Nina Sloan. Thank you guys for following us. Huge supporters. It's the only way we can keep this show going. So thank you. If you are looking at this show wondering, how do I be a guest? It's easy. Just drop a comment or contact us on any of our socials and we'll take care of you. We'd love to have you on. We know that everybody in this world has something to share, and that includes you. We'd love to have you get on a show. If you have a topic for us, we love topic ideas. We do a lot of shows where this is episode 152, so we definitely would love some help on topics. Please drop some that you like, and we will go find 3 guests and do an entire show for your topic. If you like what we do, please feel free to send stars, share, like, subscribe, all that fun stuff, depending on how you're watching us today. And we also love to help even more. Couple other things. I love doing free coaching. If you want to do a one-on-one growth session, that link's being dropped right now. I'd love to meet you, hang out, talk, and see how we can grow. Brand new announcement. We do now have merchandise. Sweet shirts like this. We've got hats and mugs and magnets and all that cool stuff. That link's being dropped right now. Support us, buy our stuff, all that fun stuff. And before we get to our guests, I got to give some shout outs to our sponsors. First off, Craig Sadkovsky's amazing, super smart guy. He's a human behaviorist and a mentor, helping entrepreneurs discover their true identity, purpose, and achieve growth in business and life, which is the whole goal of entrepreneurship. Super smart guy. Check him out. Next up is Sarah Jones, who's one of our favorite sponsors and guests on our show. Used to be buried in debt in a hapless marriage, dug down, learned, and now figured out how to use her money to help her marriage. And her and her husband travel around the U.S. in an RV, plus like cars and trailers and all sorts of stuff. They have a whole like caravan. But Sarah loves to go and help people out and teach them how to have a healthy financial foundation. Go check her out and learn what she's doing. Our next sponsor is Dana Record. Dana empowers over 30 individuals with essential end-of-life planning knowledge and helping families reduce stress and navigate loss with clarity, preparedness, and peace of mind. Roxandra is our final sponsor for this episode. Passionate mom of 2 children under 2, also a podcast host, speaker, and founder of Super Mums Magic Circle, helping heart-led moms turn chaos into clarity. Check her out and join the journey. And now, without further ado, it's time to bring out our first guest. Our first guest, Natalie. Natalie, who are you?
Who am I? I am Natalie Keim. I am a mom. I have a 24-year-old son and 2 adorable fur babies. I'm a financial professional, so I help educate people about how their money works. And I am also a full-time caretaker of my elderly parents who live with me. And finally, a podcast host, a way to get more financial education out to the world.
Oh, I love it. Financial education is probably one of the most important things we need to get out there. Especially with things that may or may not come in the near future. Natalie, Let me ask you this question. If I wanted to improve my financial health by reducing expenses, what simple piece of advice would you give me?
My advice would be to track it. You can't manage what you don't measure. So, whether you choose to use the bank apps you have available to you through your banking institutions, apps online that are available to track everything that can link to your banks, or a good old fashioned spreadsheet, the absolute most important thing you can do is pay attention to where your money is going. You can't reduce it if you don't know where it's going. I always tell clients when I'm working with them, you've got to identify the holes in your financial boat. So where are you leaking money that it may be a few dollars here and there, but it's so minimal that it doesn't catch your eye right off the bat. So
Smart.
I always say start with non-essential recurring costs, those Starbucks runs, the subscriptions that maybe you get and use it for a little while, but then you forget about it, you move on to something else, but it's still hitting your bank every single month. And that's the number one area when I'm doing a budget with a client. They give me all their numbers and I'm like, do we have everything? And they say, yeah. And then I say, how about those subscriptions? And all of a sudden that budget goes up by $200 or $300 a month because they're just tapped into so many small things. So definitely track those things and then look for ways to reduce those. If, maybe switch to a yearly subscription instead of a monthly. They're usually a little bit cheaper. So even on those apps you are using, see if you can save a little money. A lot of those apps out there will reduce your expenses on your cell phone, your car insurance. They actually do it for you. So use those tools and then use the things within those tools that can actually take care of things for you and put you a little bit ahead, and then save that amount that you reduce. If you reduce $10 a month, throw that into your savings. That little bit will build up over time and make a huge difference.
Okay, let's try to spell this out real easy. So we have viewers, right? I'll be the guy. I don't budget. I don't know anything. I make a certain amount of money. I want to reduce my expenses. What would be like a quick, easy 3-step plan to track it? Do you have a specific app you recommend? Do I need to use a debit or a credit card to track it? If I'm a cash person, how does that make it much harder to track if I'm using cash? What would be like the first 3 simplest steps to move towards tracking that you would recommend?
The first thing I would recommend is Rocket Money. That's what I tell all my clients to use, especially for those younger generations, because it does everything for you. So Rocket Money, link it to your bank. So if you're using debit card, it's going to pull all that in. If you're a cash person, yeah, it does make it a little bit harder. You've got to be more hands-on in tracking. You've got to set up your own spreadsheets and track where that money is going. But that would be it. Get that app, link it to your bank, or set up that spreadsheet if you're not using a debit card that creates that automatic record keeping for you.
So Rocket Money is the number one right now. It takes pretty much everything you spend, as long as it's digital, takes your bank account. If you're withdrawing cash, I guess it would take that into account too, correct? You'd have your withdrawals. So Rocket Money, download that, start tracking and seeing. It categorizes everything as well, I believe, correct?
It does, and it will actually cancel subscriptions for you, reduce those expenses I talked about. You can do that within that app.
Very cool. And it used to be, what was the app before Rocket Money bought it?
Oh,
is it Bill Shark?
No, I can't remember what it was called.
It was the other one, wasn't it? I don't remember either. But I've been recommending this app for a while. I've known about it. Rocket Money bought a smart move by them, and they've been promoting the hell out of it, advertising everywhere. But good app. So first step is get something to track your expenses. Awesome. Thank you so much, Natalie. I think we're going to move on to our next guest. We'll bring you out for the round robin.
Perfect.
Next up, we have Cody. Cody, tell us, who are you?
Yeah, so my name's Cody Sizemore. I'm the owner of Sizemore Financial Coaching. And I help people get out of debt, build up savings, buy their first home, start investing, all that good stuff. But what I really love about what I do is that I also take into account the psychology of money as well. So why you spend money a certain way, why you think about money a certain way, and how that might actually be holding you back, but then also learning how to move forward from that stuff as well.
All right. Well, I have an important question for you, Cody. If I wanted to improve my financial health by reducing expenses, what simple piece of advice would you give me?
Yeah, so I'm actually going to build off of the last piece of advice because I have a similar
Cheater.
one, but slightly different.
Cheater.
Slightly different, all right? So
Okay.
she was
Okay. Go
talking
ahead.
about tracking it, right?
Yep.
Which to me, that could be multi-layered, but a lot of that would be moving forward with things, right? Like, so tracking money as you spend it to see where things are at and see, how your finances are actually working, right? But one thing that I find is that at least people that I talk to, which is pretty much everybody, people have way more money than they actually think. They really do. But they don't
Fascinating.
understand where it's actually coming from or where it's actually going as well. So I would argue it's not only important to track things moving forward, but it's also important to see what has actually been happening to that money. Because if we were to just track moving forward, a lot of times people are doing that for the first time. They don't really know how to do it. It's new and it's not really a new habit that's like consistent. So they might fall off of it. But if they look at what has happened, it's very eye opening in the sense that maybe they didn't even realize how much they were actually spending on DoorDash. And they look back and they're like, holy cow, like I actually spent like $700 a month on average on DoorDash alone. And that wake up call can be a huge thing to help them change that behavior moving forward as well.
Very true. Very true. Yeah. Yeah. When you look $700 in DoorDash, you're like, man, I gotta start driving and picking it up and saving some cash.
You'd be
So do you
surprised at how
recommend
much that
Rocket
happens.
Money as well to track your expenses?
You could use Rocket Money. There's a lot of different tools. But I would even say, like, if you were to do the more so of like, let's look at what happened, it's more so of running an audit kind of thing. So what I would do in this scenario is kind of go into your transaction histories, whether it be debit card, credit card, whatever. Go back 3 months and just record everything that happened with income and expenses, categorize them, and then take a 3-month average. That way we can see, like, 1 month might be a little bit different than the other, but there's an average kind of thing there. And it's just a really good kind of like look in the mirror to see where those wasteful or problematic areas are within your spending so that you then know how to move forward at the best and most effective way. That's centered around both your goals, but also what's important to you as well. Like, it's important to accomplish those goals, but we don't want to throw away the things that are the most important to you for the sake of financial gain.
Awesome. Cody, last question for you. Where in your life journey did you learn this tip?
I had a wake up call myself. When I was getting myself out of debt, I made decent money, but never seemed to have it. And I was like, why is this happening? And I always heard, like, you need to budget. And I understood that, but I couldn't grasp what I needed to do in order to budget. So I came up with this idea and I was like, well, I'm just going to see what I've been doing. And when I did that, I had like a come to Jesus moment where I was like, what the heck? Kind of thing, and that kind of like ignited this fire in me to where I was like, I can't be doing this anymore and I need to move forward from here.
Fascinating. Awesome. All right, Cody, we're going to move on to our next guest. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the round robin. Next up, we have Nina. Nina, can you tell me, who are you?
Good morning. I am the community auntie, first and foremost. No children of my own. Community auntie, though. All the kids, they love me, to put it nicely.
Okay.
And I also, also definitely in the financial profession. I'm a financial safe money strategist, meaning helping people put money away for later on or even the not so distant future in places where they don't have to worry about losing anything. And I also make sure, and part of that is with life insurance as well. But starting from the beginning, I talk to people and show them how and where they can save money when we look at their financials. Again, taking a spin off of both Cody and Natalie, you got to track everything. And that's one of the things when I meet with my clients, we do an assessment, and most of them are blown away with how much money they're just throwing out in the wind because they have no idea. So yeah, definitely tracking, because I've always done that. I'm a minimalist, frugal kind of person. So it's always been me. And the things I point out, people are like, oh my God, I never thought about that. So yeah, just being realistic.
All right, Nina, I got an important question for you.
Yes.
If I wanted to improve my financial health by reducing expenses, what simple piece of advice would you give me?
Well, I wrote down a couple of things. Well, the one that no one's talked about yet, negotiate everything. I'm talking your cable bill, your
Ooh.
medical bills, your internet subscription. And I learned that from Indecent Proposal. That movie right there, when I was a kid, taught me everything's negotiable. And it is.
All right, even your wife. No, I'm just kidding. I will say on that right now, if you're watching this, there is a company that actually goes through and does your cell phone bill, cable bill, and they're escaping my mind right now. It might be Bill Shark. If you're interested in that and you're watching this, shoot a comment right now, and I'll figure that out and get that to you. I don't. Do you know, Nina? There's a company out there that's doing like Sprint and Verizon, and they go and negotiate your bills for you.
I don't know the exact name of the company, but in one of my networking groups, one of the reps in there, she does exactly that. She reduces your bills.
Yeah, I think it's called Bill Shark, but I'm not sure. And then they take a cut of whatever they save, like 20% or whatever they save. But yeah, when I had like 42 homes that I was paying internet for, that was really helpful. They negotiated with Comcast and saved a bunch. And it's free. They just get paid if they save you money.
Right.
So if you want details on that, let us know. All right, Nina, back to you. Tell us, where in your life journey did you learn this tip?
Again, Indecent Proposal was one, and I was even as a kid, it's like, let's just negotiate. Like, come on, let's try to get a win-win. And when you're definitely negotiating your finances, you are winning. They're still getting theirs, but you're winning because you're not paying as much as they wanted you to pay.
Right. And so on that note, I mean, even your cell phone provider, cable, all of those, you can go to almost all these big companies have retention teams.
Right.
And their goal is to not lose you as a company. That your monthly payment is so important to them, and it's so expensive to get a new customer to switch over, that if you go and talk to them, they'll give you a month free, 2 months free. They'll knock off whatever. And so their entire team is designed to make it a little cheaper for you, just so they don't lose you, just so they keep you going. So you can always try to cancel your cell phone or whatever, and they'll have a retention team that you can negotiate with, like Nina said.
Absolutely.
Awesome. All right, Nina, let's bring out everyone else, Natalie and Cody, and let's have a little round robin. Audience, this is a perfect time for you to ask some questions if you have any that you want us to answer. And let's start this off. Natalie, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Yeah, my tip was to track it. You can't manage what you don't measure.
Can't manage. And I think it was good that you went first because everyone else went off of that. Cody, what are your thoughts on her tip?
It's incredibly important. It's incredibly important. So, like even just tracking it, I mean, you could call it budgeting too. Budgeting is kind of a scary word for a lot of people. So I like to call it a money map instead. And the way that I think of it is like, it's literally a map for your money. And you're not going to be able to get anywhere that you want to be if you don't have a good map. So what Natalie said is completely true, and I can't agree more.
I love it. Nina, what are your thoughts on Natalie's tip?
She's right. If you don't see it, you can't make changes. It's that proverbial mirror that people need. It's like, oh, it's in my face now. It's like this. So yeah, makes people see it, and then you can make adjustment to adjust accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's good. It's nice that there's now phone apps that can even tell you. And I think even Rocket or any of the other ones that pop up, they'll even pop up and say, you spent 10% more this month on entertainment than you did last month, and give you alerts like that. Cody, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Yeah, so mine was a little bit more of like pre-work before the budgeting side of things, but really it's just about doing like an audit on yourself to see where the money has actually been going when you weren't paying attention to it. Because you're paying attention to it now, but maybe you weren't for years or even longer kind of thing. And it's important to know that so that you understand how to actually make the adjustments that's going to be serving you the best moving forward.
Awesome. Great. Nina, what are your thoughts on his tip?
I'm sorry, I blanked for a moment. Come back to me, please. I missed it. The pop-up at the bottom when someone said hi to me and it lost me. Sorry.
Oh man, having followers follow you is tough, isn't it, Nina?
It's distressing.
Cody, do you want to? So Cody was talking about looking in the past, like auditing your expenses, essentially.
Definitely, absolutely, you have to do that. And as far as auditing, and again, noticing that, oh, the price went up, say from your introductory rate. That introductory rate, as long as you call them with the retention team and negotiate, that can go on for years. So definitely look back, see where you've been paying and what you've been paying, and then, again, adjust accordingly.
Love it. Natalie, what are your thoughts on Cody's tip?
I love Cody's tip. I love that he took the time to go back to that audit piece, because you can't build a complete budget if you don't really know where you're already spending your money, or you're going to keep tripping over yourself. Like he said, you're going to miss categories. And then at the end of the month, you're going to be like, but still, where's that other money? So going back and looking at that, I love that he pointed out, look at a 3-month window, because some things do happen on a quarterly basis. Then you have a better chance of capturing everything. Then build your budget or your money map, your financial GPS, whatever you want to call it. From that, you have a better chance of having everything there, at least everything that really is moving the needle for you. So I love that tip. I think it's vitally important.
Agreed. Nina, can you quickly refresh what your tip was for us?
Again, just to negotiate everything, especially when it comes to medical expenses. We've all heard someone reviewing their medical bill when they ask for it, and you're like, Tylenol, $20. Like, what do you mean? Those things are definitely negotiable. So yeah, go through everything. You'd be surprised at things that you think you can't get them to move on. Again, as you mentioned, Austin, the retention team, hey, hang on, let's work with you. Let's make it happen, because they don't want to lose you as a customer.
Very, very true. Natalie, what are your thoughts on Nina's tip?
It's a great tip. It's so true. Most things in life are absolutely negotiable. And if you'll take the time to make a phone call, send an email, you'll be surprised how much of a difference it can make. And that adds up. Before this, I got on and I looked at my Rocket Money, and I'm like, okay, where are my recurring expenses? I canceled 2 things this morning, and I sent in a request to review a couple others. So even in the world I'm in, I've got to go back and make sure I'm doing that for myself. I got to look at my own money as much as I look at other people's. But I love that tip of negotiating, because you have more power as a consumer than you realize.
That's a good statement right there. You have more power as a consumer than you realize. Cody, what are your thoughts on Nina's tip?
Yeah, I love it as well. I actually did this recently in my own finances in 2 different areas. One was my internet bill, and another one was my homeowner's insurance, because I have several rental properties as well. So, those are like investment properties. I need to make sure that my bottom line is good, right? But with my internet provider, I was paying like $85 a month. And then I saw that it went up to $120 a month. So I called them, basically said like, hey, I talked to the retention team. I was like, this is not cool. Well, now my bill is $65 a month. So it's lower than it was originally. So that's awesome. And then with the homeowner's insurance, obviously it kind of like renewed. There was an escrow shortage, all this kinds of stuff. And I went in and I saw where the problem area was. And it was the homeowner's insurance that almost doubled from the year prior. So I just shopped it around, got a lower rate than the prior year, and now my profit margins on my rental property are even bigger. So it's these small things that we tend to just overlook or kind of go with the flow with. But if we just take a little bit of time and a little bit of effort, it can go a long way. So it's a great one.
So real quick on this, I'm going to do maybe a little bit of a deeper dive. So negotiating. Nina talked about medical bills. So if you owe, let's just go with $10,000 to a hospital for something, the process of them getting that money is ideal. The perfect situation for them is you walk up with a check and you pay it off $10,000. But most cases, people don't have a $10,000 check sitting around their house for them to get hurt, whatever your situation is. So a lot of times they'll do a payment plan. Give us $200 a month, $500 a month, whatever. So they make less money because inflation eats away at that total price. We could go down this for years, but for them, if you stop paying that money, there's way more interest in them getting at least half of it now than it is trying to chase you forever. The more they chase you to get money for medical debt or any kind of debt, the more money they spend to try to acquire that. So almost all people that have over $10,000 will negotiate. This is true with credit cards, whoever. Now, I'm not saying go get a bunch of debt and then negotiate your way out of it, but perhaps maybe some people do that. But it goes for just about anything. If you want, everyone is more happy to have money in their hands now, even if it's at 10 to 20% less than what they wanted that value to be, than to have no money and have you walk away as a customer. So keep that in mind when you're spending money anywhere. Now, obviously, corporations, the people you talk to have a lot less leeway. But even in small businesses, if you're looking for a monthly, I don't know, let's just go picture frame person. Maybe you're an artist and they frame your art and you use a monthly. There's always some wiggle room there, as much as you can. All right, we're going to move to a question from our audience real quick. Christine, if you're not enjoying the money you earn, what's the point of saving it and being frugal? What's your perspective on this, guys? Who wants to take that first?
I'll jump in on that.
Go ahead, Natalie.
Oh,
all right. I was just going to say real quick, that's true. What's the whole point of life if you're not enjoying it? You know, at the end of the day, do you want to slave away at a job or work your butt off building a business for 40, 50 years and turn around and have nothing to show for it and live less than in retirement than you did while you were working so hard?
Okay, I'll hop in because I mentioned that I'm frugal. For me, my frugality comes with, let's save on this because that's but when it comes to the big things, travel, something I really want, because I've penny pinched over here, I can get this without thinking twice about it. So that's my balance with frugality.
Yeah, and I'll weigh on this too, and I'll say a few things. So first and foremost, oftentimes, like if you're like most Americans, we have debts, consumer debts, right? Which then take a good portion of our monthly income. I mean, I've seen people spend thousands of dollars a month on debt payments alone, just their minimum payments. So if you want to talk about not being able to enjoy life, imagine if those payments didn't exist and you just had that money instead. And then you could go actually have fun. You could go take that trip every other month or whatever it might be. Like that's actually enjoying life. So, you know, it's a delicate balance between the here and now and then also the future as well. But at the same time, like just because you might be trying to get out of debt or build up your savings, that doesn't mean that you have to throw your whole life away. So part of like, you know, having that money map is also working in like, hey, I do give myself some guilt-free spending money that's allocated to a certain amount every single month. And it's an amount that's going to make me healthy in the sense I can accomplish my goals in a reasonable amount of time. But I also am able to enjoy the process too. That's a huge mistake that people make, is that they try and throw their life away and then they get burnt out. They resent the whole process. And it's a vicious cycle of getting motivated, getting defeated, getting motivated and defeated. So finding that balance between the two quality of lives is extremely important.
I love that, Cody.
It's just about sustainability.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I'm very frugal, but I'm also very happy with that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good. We got another question here. This is good. What does financial freedom mean to you?
So I'll go first on this one. You've heard the term time is money, right? So financial freedom to me is being able to buy back our most valuable asset, which is our time. You know, so I'm 31 years old. The reason that I do real estate investing is because it's giving me a somewhat passive income, right? To essentially, you know, replace my income so I can retire early. Right now, I'm on track to be able to retire by the time I'm 38 years old, and I can spend time with my kids. I can spend time with my aging parents. That is financial freedom. And when I say retire, I mean mentally retire. I'll always want to do work. That's how I'm wired. But I'll be working simply because I want to, not because I feel like I need to pay my mortgage anymore. You know what I mean? So that is financial freedom to me, is just buying back your time.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with what Cody said. You know, I sat down at 46, which was 6 years ago. I just turned 53. And I was like, where am I at in my picture? Where am I at when it comes to retirement? And I learned things in that appointment that led me to get in the financial industry, that led me to educate and help other people, because I had a 20-year corporate finance background. And if I didn't know that information, I knew my next door neighbor, the person down the street, didn't know it either. And so for me, it was 100% that taking my time back so that I could spend it where I want, with who I want, doing what I want. I've worked from the beach. I've worked from an airplane, but I get to go and do the things I want, and I get to build that with people that matter to me. Because at the end of this life, whatever comes next, the only thing I have is those memories. And so you get to decide that with your time, and you get to allocate your money accordingly within that as well.
Beautiful. Nina, any thoughts on that?
Yes, financial freedom. They both, Natalie and Cody, both hit the nail right on the head. It's about having your time to do what you want to do, letting what work you do, the money you earn, let it fund your life. And for me, it means I guess I'm a philanthropist at heart and mind. Eventually I'll be one in the real world too. But just, when family comes to me, or if I see a cause that I want to donate to, that I could give substantially and not have to worry about, well, I got to make sure I keep enough just for myself. And that's what it means to me, just being able to live freely, give freely when I want to, and not have to worry about my own condition at the moment.
Can I just
Financial freedom.
Yeah, I just
being able to do whatever you want.
I want to build off of what Nina said. Giving and generosity is extremely important, and I feel like, especially if someone is trying to get out of debt, they may feel like there's no room for that, and it's something they really want to do. And I can understand that, on the surface, and maybe even in the numbers as well. But what I have found is that at least the clients that I serve, the clients who give in some way, shape, or form, whether it be like a monthly subscription to like Compassion International, or even like tithing to their church, something like that, those are the clients that actually see the most progress. I think it's because they're more loosely, they're not clenching their money, So think about it like, your hand is closed like this, and you have a closed fist. Well, if you try and pick something up like this coffee mug, if I were to try and grab it, like I can't grab it, right? It's only once I have my hand open that I can actually take what I want. And the point with that is, like, sometimes we're so closed fists with our own finances that it actually keeps us from getting what we actually want out of our money, which is not just the dollars and cents. It's also how it aligns with our values and our morals as well. So I love what you said, Nina.
Thank you.
All right, guys, it has hit the time in our show where we need to come up with our daily challenge. This is a task or series of tasks that will take less than 5 minutes per day, cost $0, be available to anyone in the world from South Korea to South Africa, in order to help us improve our financial health with reducing expenses. What thoughts do you guys have?
I'll go first. Something as simple as food shopping. Go bulk shop at once instead of going out every day, because we spend a little bit more when you're shopping every single day. Well, let me go pick up food for today, unless you're buying fresh food, that's different. But otherwise, buy it in bulk, put it to the side so that you're saving money daily.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, meal prepping as well, or at least maybe even just meal planning, or maybe a mixture of the two. But that's one thing, like, if you're going every day, it's probably because you don't have any idea what you want to eat for dinner that night, So like, plan it out and it kind of works in conjunction together. So I think it's a really good one. And it's a really simple one that everyone's going to need, because everyone's got to eat as well. So I like that one.
Yeah, I like it too. I mean, just recently, my son, about 9 months ago, moved out on his own. And so he's figuring out that adulting and managing the money and how to make it last all month. And he's like, man, it's so hard going to Costco and buying in bulk, because it's a big lump sum all at once. And I said to him, like, here where we're at, we have Aldi. And I said, why don't you go to Aldi and figure out the things you can get, like your meats that are one of the most expensive things you buy, and then go to Costco for those other things. Your money goes a little bit farther. And a week later, he called me and he was like, holy cow, I just went grocery shopping at Aldi. I couldn't believe how much I got for about half the money I was spending before. So think about in your area, what stores are available to you. How can you make your money go a little bit farther? Yeah, it may mean going to 2 different locations, but if it helps your budget in the long run, it's worth it.
And in Aldi, so we have an Aldi at my location as well. I love Aldi. Great prices, better ingredients. The food there is way higher quality than, a lot of the other grocery stores too. So that's a win-win. If you have an Aldi, go to Aldi.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to make it somewhat simple and easy off of what we talked about. We'll do our daily challenge. You'll calculate what you spent in food the day before. And then we're going to think and hopefully act on a monthly bill that you could negotiate.
Mm-hmm.
So every day for a week. So you'll have 7 monthly bills. That could be insurance. That could be phone. That could be internet. That could be whatever else you have every day. Let's at least think about something you could negotiate. If you're very, very ambitious, go ahead and make that call and negotiate that bill. And then let's calculate our food costs the day before. I think that's a fascinating challenge just to see. Yesterday I spent $40. The day before I spent $60. The day before I cooked everything, I spent $10. Like, wow, it's really nice when you cook everything. A lot of money saved on that. I feel like a lot of people might learn something from that. Awesome. Well, our show has come to an end. Thank you so much, Lynn. Once a week shopping, meal planning, look at where you're shopping. I would add budgeting. We did talk about that a little bit earlier on in the show. Budgeting, tracking your expenses, tracking and negotiating. Thank you guys so much for being on our show. We are going to wrap it up, and we'll see you guys next time. Natalie, Cody, and Nina. And finally, thank all of you for watching. What a great show it was. Hopefully you guys learned something. We talked about tracking, budgeting, phone apps that can help track all your stuff. And one last thing about reducing your expenses is thinking about your largest expense. There's only really one expense where they calculate it should be about 1/3 of your income, and that's going to be your lodging, rent, or your mortgage. How can you make that cheaper? Buying a house, typically cheaper than renting. House sharing, having a roommate. There's a lot of people out there that really want those 1-bedroom studios or 1-bedroom apartments. You pay significantly more per month than somebody living in a 2-bedroom or 3-bedroom, splitting all of that. So if you are struggling living in a 1-bedroom in a downtown big city, you really might want to look at where you're spending your money on your monthly rent, because you can probably significantly change it by moving 10 minutes outside the city or adding a roommate and splitting those costs.